The man whose eyes Tyndale had hoped to open was the Catholic King Henry VIII. Henry later became most famous for having 6 wives, but at the time, he was still on his first. His queen, however, could not provide him with a male heir, so he desperately wanted a divorce. But the Pope wouldn't grant him one.
Henry did not have good enough representation at Rome, and therefore the church was not going to grant him his annulment. If the church could not grant Henry a legal divorce, he had to find a church that could.
Find one or found his own. Spurned by the Pope, Henry made himself the head of the English Church. All over England lies the fallout from the split, the ruins of medieval Catholic monasteries that were closed by King Henry. Their remains are an enduring symbol of the turmoil of the times. The king's right-hand man in charge of the transformation was the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer. But Cranmer had bigger goals than the king's divorce or even a national church. He wanted to endow the church with true Protestant ideals. Just like Wycliffe, Luther, and Tyndale before him, Cranmer placed reading the scriptures in one's own tongue at the heart of his Reformation. And he went further than just legalizing the English text. He authorized the first official English Bible. It was called the Matthew Bible, supposedly the work of a man named Thomas Matthew, but the name was a fake. The Bible was printed in Antwerp, and ornate initials inside reveal who had really done the work. W.T. for William Tyndale. 2 years later came Cranmer's Great Bible. Most of the text was still Tyndale's, but this was the first truly national Bible. By royal command, it was placed in every English church. Every parish in the land was forced to buy one, and Archbishop Cranmer publicly encouraged everyone to read it.
It is convenient and good for the scriptures to be read of all sorts and kinds of people, and in the vulgar tongue. All shall therein find all they ought to believe in, what they ought to do, and what they ought not to do.
Hearing the words of God in English was a powerful revelation for the congregations. Trading Latin for English instantly shifted power away from the clergy, many of whom still clung to their Catholic convictions despite Cranmer's edicts.
Reading the Bible could be a political act, particularly in the early days. Very often, this was turned into an act of defiance against the old church. A mass would be going on at the other end of the church, up at the high altar, and people would stand shouting out the words of the Bible.
And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven."
What really is going on in that is that essential Reformation declaration that you and I, individuals, stand in front of God. We don't need clergy, we don't need priests. That's in itself a hugely political statement.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
The changes were dramatic, and Henry was soon having second thoughts. For the rest of his life, he would struggle to find balance for his new church.